Here we are with Mrs. Luyk, who is our literacy coach. And Mrs. Luyk, what exactly does a literacy coach do?
Well, I do quite a few things. I work between both Meco and McNab. I'm in charge of overseeing the reading programs that we have. I work with the teachers and help them to implement the new reading programs or anything we're doing that's has to do with reading or writing. And then I also work half of my day with the students. So I have about 15 students, and I'm an interventionist, so I help them to improve their reading skills.
What does academic intervention service? What does that mean?
Basically what it is we go through a process. The reading team of teachers, we meet together at the beginning of the year and we look at different types of test results. And after the students are all tested, either as a group in the classroom, on the computer, we use 3 or 4 different types of tests. We don't just look at one thing, we take a look at different things. And what we do is we look at the scores, and then we would determine which students need the most help in reading, which students just need some help in reading, and which will be fine in the regular classroom. And after we decide which students we are going to use or work with, we go about and work on a schedule and come up with a way that we can work with those students. In addition, it's 30 to 40 minutes in addition to their regular reading in the classroom. So these students are chosen and they get an extra dose of reading. So, and writing is included too. So these are students that need just an extra push, an extra more time to develop their reading skills, because reading is very difficult for a lot of students, and just because there's so many parts to it. And now with the expectations of the state, we have to really work with these students to push them up to the next level.
How does the teacher and the AIS provider work together to make sure they're working on the same thing?
Well, we meet together after the testing is done. We meet together on a regular basis, probably every couple of weeks or so. Sometimes it's informal, sometimes we sit down together and we come up with a plan for that child, and we decide what are the most important goals for that child in reading. What skills is he or she in need of improving so that they can make progress, because that's our whole goal, is to have these students be successful in the classroom. So in order to do that, we want to work on the same vocabulary words, or use the same spelling words, or whatever way we can work together, we want to do that, because we as reading teachers we can find books that are on the topic that the teacher is working on, so that our students can read at a different level but still learn what we need to teach them.
Awesome. How does a child kind of graduate from AIS? How do they get out?
Well, at the end of each year, what we do through the year is we progress monitor, which just means we do checkups on them. And what we do is keep track of the data, and we really try to have a lot of data by the end of the year so that we can really look at that student. And of course, when we're meeting with the teacher, we see, how are they doing? Do you feel like they still need this service? And when we have enough proof that we feel that student is able to be in the classroom without any extra help, then that is what we do, because that's the whole goal. And we can do that all the way through the year. So we don't have every student for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And they do get services every day. So, we want to make sure that that's really what they need. So it's all based on each child's needs.
Fantastic. And do you have any tips for parents? Are there things that parents can do at home to work with their kids?
Sure. Having a couple of boys myself who really were not interested in reading at all, I really feel like the little pieces of time that you have as a parent are where you can kind of fill in some small gaps. What I used to do was just set the timer on the computer, or not the computer, the microwave, and I would set it for 15 minutes, and that's how long we would work together. So if you have any children that are at home with you, they need to just practice. They need to practice reading the words in sentences. We have a lot of great kids that read words very well by themselves, but when it comes to putting it in a sentence, that's where they kind of get, behind a little bit. So what I would suggest is setting the timer, because that tells the child that there is going to be a point of, it's going to be over in a little while, and it gives you just something to kind of focus on in terms of time. And one thing that I've noticed a lot of the students need is vocabulary. Their vocabulary is basically just the words that are kind of hard for kids to figure out what they mean. So if you, as a parent, can just explain words that are difficult to them, they will have a better understanding of what they're reading. And that's the goal too, is we want them to not just be able to read the words, but to try to read the paragraphs and then understand them. So in addition to that, you can also ask questions as you go. Like every couple of paragraphs or so, you can ask just basic questions, what's happening here? And sometimes I pretend I don't know, and then they tell me. And sometimes it's difficult to get kids to read at home, so I leave books all over the house. And sometimes when the kids are bored, they'll pick one up. And especially like rainy days, I think, or days where you're stuck inside, it's nice to have some extra books on the child's level that they can read. So it keeps them busy and out of your hair.
Okay, Mrs. Luyk, thank you so much for your time. These are great tips. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.